Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Night Owl. It's been a dominant affair up at the top of the highest category that we have. And on top of that, there's been several drivers that have been desperately trying to keep pace. Will the tide turn tonight? We'll have to find out. Hello, and welcome to all of you at home, and welcome in to Brands Hatch in the United Kingdom. I'm Jesse Lee, as always, and tonight joined specially by Nate and Stewie on the broadcast. Nate, welcome in and thanks for covering tonight.
Oh, happy to be here. I believe, probably wrong because I'm not that great, but this is my first commentary of 2020. So what a way to kick things off. Brands Hatch, don't really know if I can call it local because I'm like 300 miles from it, but I'm closer to it than you are, Jesse.
That is very true, and it is just a fantastic racetrack. It's one of the old dinosaurs of motor racing, and in my opinion, that's what makes it so very special. Two classes for you tonight, as always, the top class and the lower class that we had a little debate pre-race today on what we should call the second class. Yes, we know they have AM badges, but every single driver in that class is anything but Nate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I watched last race, and some of them are, getting right up there mixing with the pros. If anything, maybe we need to look at a couple of promotions going through. But yeah, no one on this grid is a true am. I think we've got the aliens, which are the pros, and then the really quick guys that the likes of me and you, Jesse, just can't keep up with.
Yeah, certainly you can't keep up with anybody in this race, but the big story that we're following is, can anybody keep up with Dylan Tan? That 141 McLaren has been too much to take for everybody in the first two races, and seeing how far out in front Tan is here in practice, that doesn't bode well for anybody else today.
I'm getting flashbacks to when I did the Porsche Cup Championship when we just had Wolf Matushka run away with everything. Are we going to have a repeat of Dylan Tan just walking away with everything? Maybe the narrowness of brands might throw up a few surprises. We might get an unexpected result. But as you mentioned, Jesse, Brands, one of the dinosaur tracks. I think a lot of tracks owned by MSV, which is obviously Brands, got Alton, Donington, they're all quite narrow, and I think that's what really adds to the excitement and the pull to these circuits. Is if you make a mistake, you're on the grass. We all know there's no grip out there, and then very shortly after that, you'll find the barrier. So drivers going to need to be on their game to keep it on the track and pointing in the right direction.
Of course, also what makes Night Owl so interesting is the random pit requirements for every single race. The randomizer pulled out absolutely no required pit stop tonight. That means that if you can last an hour, you will elect to. I don't think there's a single car out here that can't make it to the 1 hour mark tonight, but some cars might need to do just a bit of fuel saving to ensure that they can get to that mark. Practice ending qualifying imminent here in a few moments. Nate, you've had a little bit of time to look at the cars. What do you expect out of qualifying tonight?
Well, I mean, besides probably the expected obvious of a certain McLaren being on pole. I don't really know because, like I said, Brands is an odd circuit. You'd think it would lend itself perhaps maybe to mid-engined cars with the nimbleness to turn into some of these quick corners, but it's actually quite an even playing field. I've noticed a lot of the front-engine cars here don't struggle as much with like washing out mid-corner, which really makes them a strong contender because they're easier to drive. So we could see anything. I mean, at the moment, the grid is sort of all over the place. We apart from that gaggle of BMWs, is there a word for that? Can we think of a word as the broadcast goes on? Like, but yeah, it could be anyone's game. Is or Dylan getting a little bit squirrely then. But yeah, calling it 1-4-1 on pole, but then second to last, anybody's game.
Well, there you have it. I'm going to go with a bit of a wild card. I'm going to say Savalainen based on the strength of his race one night ago here in RCI. Might get another one tonight. Could he go 2 for 2 for his weekend? We find out in just a little bit of time. And Well, of course, Nate filling in for Ryan Mawson, who's away on assignment tonight. And of course, qualifying 15 minutes. All the cars, regardless of class, are out on the track at the same time. It's not the biggest track in the world, and space could be at a premium once all the cars come out.
Jesse, I can't help but notice that Dylan Tan's McLaren looks a little bit different to perhaps some of the standard liveries we might see. Do you want to fill our lovely viewers in to why his car might look a little bit different?
Yes, indeed. For those of you that haven't seen the video we put out somewhere right near the beginning of the new year, it was the promise of custom liveries being allowed in RCI competition at some point in the near future. Well, for right now, the time is now. And for the very first time in RCI history, custom race liveries are allowed. Now, actually, we did one race, one series, I think it was, a year or so ago, where we didn't have any rules against custom liveries at the time because it was an incredibly new concept. It caused all sorts of problems. All of that has been completely fixed, and now custom liveries allowed for the very first time, not only in Night Owl, just in RCI in general. We have 4 cars out here tonight that all have custom liveries, including Dylan Tan.
It's fantastic to see. It's something I'm really hoping will take off more and more as as RCI grows, as more people get creative, make more liveries. Obviously, only a handful in here today because obviously, as you mentioned, Jesse, a relatively new concept to RCI. But I imagine come next Night Owl, or potentially even for the next broadcast, we'll see many more cars on the grid with their custom liveries showing off their creativity and their passion for the game.
Yeah, of course, there is an approval process. There's a guide on what you can and can't do. Of course, just like any other series, it's something you don't normally ever see is the approval process. Even F1 has to have their cars and liveries approved before they can run in the race. And of course, RCI, nothing like F1, but still very similar in that respect. And as those liveries get approved and more teams get them, feel like we will continue to see that popularized. Dylan Tan first across the line, a 1:22.860 the mark. To have a line and half a second off Samir Foch, more than one quarter second back of that mark. Lie in the 74 slots in, and Jaroslav Roth in the 288, 0.3 of a second down. Dylan Tan just absolutely taking it to the field.
Honestly, I know I'm not the quickest guy, Jesse. I'm sure you can admit you have your flaws as well. But seeing that time, it's just. I mean, maybe we're not aliens. Maybe seeing something like this is well, at least for me personally, it's just a completely foreign concept to me. But 122.8 just straight out of the gate, not even having enough time to bring its tires in optimally, and definitely putting the benchmark down. Perhaps he'll even just park it in and leave it, see if anyone can catch him.
I think that is absolutely the case here. Miguel Martins dropped a nice message in our chat. Hello and good luck to you. Miguel Martins in the race tonight. Of course, as we work through qualifying, we will see more and more cars set a quicker lap. A couple of cars, in my opinion, set what I call a banker lap, not necessarily a very quick lap, but you know who is? Dylan Tan took nearly a second, or excuse me, a tenth and a half out of his time, a 22.672, the current quickest mark. Tan's going to reset to pit road. Samir Foch jumps up to second place, 7/10 off of the ultimate pace, but perhaps more importantly, on the front row of the grid. What does Giannis Tassopoulos have here in the 7.78? A top 10 time, a 24.512 for him. Gets bumped down. Estefado in the 5 McLaren, the highest lower class car inside the top 10. Vining came in 11th place. John Eraser now in 12th place, bumping Tassopoulos, who was in the top 10 there for a second, all the way down to 13th place. Here is one of those custom liveries, by the way. And we're going to call this one artistic.
Oh no, you know what? It makes a lot of sense. Obviously, we had a sneak peek on the broadcast before we went live, but I've just seen the team name, Rachel's 350Z. Now,
Oh,
if that
yeah.
rings any bells to any of you, you have played a very good game. It is indeed a homage to Rachel's car from Need for Speed Underground 2.
That is for Madre. That is an excellent reference, which again, totally allowed to make replicas of other cars as long as the everything's on the up and up. And that is such a creative way to do it. Madre coming in 16th quickest in the 4:20 a.m. GA. Nice time for them that they will hope to continue to repeat on. What does Giorgio Magazzi have here? Little bit better time, I'd suspect. A lot better time from 14th to 6th, a 24:087. That's going to be a reset for that driver halfway into the session. 15 minutes around Brands Hatch, Nate. You get a lot of laps in that.
You do get a lot of laps, but the problem is with a lot of cars, you don't get a lot of space. So we've seen a couple of drivers starting their flying lap. There's a car coming out of the pits, and that will immediately put you off because you never know if the car ahead of you is going to see you and get out of the way quick enough for you. Even if they do get out of the way, you can still get distracted, you can still get pulled in, brake a little bit later, overshoot the corner. It just causes havoc for the drivers. So everyone will be hoping they can find their own little pocket of clean air, but Brands Hatch, not a long lap, not a big track, not a wide track. We've touched on that already. So, I mean, we have a big space now, but that could easily go if someone resets, comes back out. It's anyone's game. It's a nightmare.
Where you catch traffic in the race, so important, and just as important in qualifying as well to not get traffic. You have to sometimes finagle your way around to get an open space. Case in point, Jaroslav Roth is actually going to be right behind the Madre car right now, and Roth going off in the Paddock Hill bend. Who the stewards, of course, live stewarding on Saturdays now, becoming the constant. It's actually getting to a point where it's more likely than not than more of the time with stewarding than there hasn't been, but to me, still a fairly new concept. But I digress. One of our stewards, Phil Roberts, has renamed some of the corners. He's renamed Paddock Hill Bend, uh, Phil Bend, or Paddock, no, Graham Phil Bend, I think is what he named it, after himself, because he goes off there quite a bit. So never let it be said that stewards don't have a sense.
I've literally just seen this the
Oh,
rename corner.
oh, I see. I see what it's called. Nate, tell him what it's called.
What, the first corner?
Yeah. Yeah.
Paddock Phil Bend.
Ah, yes. I absolutely butchered that, and I do apologize. But they've renamed some of the corners. Turn 1, which is Paddock Hill Bend, has been renamed to Paddock Phil Bend in reference to Phil Roberts, who has gone off there a few times. And Turn 2, Torpedo Ted Hairpin. Oh, dear.
I quite
Ted,
like the last section, Jesse. Your Jesse Lee's roller coaster complex.
Oh dear. You know why they've called it that? It's because I feel like I've referenced turns 6 through 8 as almost roller coaster esque driving through there, and I believe they have named it to that effect. And of course, these are the fake names that the stewards have given. Or actually, I believe Phil Roberts did this just as a joke. And it's been a while since he's made one of these track maps, and we'll probably name off some of the other corners in the race to amuse ourselves. But let's just say every corner has a new name and a reference to a staff member. Oh, it's on the screen, in fact, right now. You guys can see at home there. Turn 1 is Paddock Phil Bend. You've got Torpedo Ted Hairpin in Turn 2, the John Sins corner, the almost Tom Tim straight. Turn 4, Tom. Not another Tom Watts corner. and 6, 7, 8. That complex is Jesse Lee's roller coaster complex. The L-shaped corner, and then you've got the Bart Bow. And I missed the Alpha Elevation Straight. My word, they uh, Bill Roberts. I was talking to him earlier in the afternoon, and he disappeared. And I suspect now he disappeared to come make that.
It's so terrible. It's funny.
Absolutely great. It's for those of you that were with us last fall, you would have noticed nearly every track we went to had one of those. Big shout out to Stewie for being able to pull that up, and Phil for making that amusing us in the qualifying session. Haven't missed anything much in qualifying. Dylan Tan still the quickest driver with the 22.672. They're continuing to try and improve. Jaroslav Roth is half a second off that pace, and this man Samir Foch, who has been 3/4 of a second down, is up on his lap time by about a tenth or so. It ends up being a lot more than that, 3/10 off the ultimate pace, but still a very nice 22 for Samir Foch, and he ditched it into paddock Phil Bend there. So he must be resetting for one more shot. Actually, Samir might be done. Actually, no, he didn't do that. In fact, as he's not, he's already out of the pit lane, so he's not done. Is Samir Foch?
We're going to definitely see a shake-up come the final minutes. I think everyone's starting to find their rhythm, starting to find their flow now. Yeah. I don't think... we've just been told, Jesse, the track started on fast. It's down optimum, so obviously more grip equals more speed. That's exactly how that graph goes, if you want to look at it. The speed squared by grip equals faster.
Oh dear, I'm being told in chat, Vonta Blue, who is one of our stewards, is saying that the bigger the pileup, the more shots they're willing to take. I don't think you should be stewarding and drinking. Steward department, but you know, otherwise. By also Ted Edwards, and that he did realize that Phil Roberts had made that track guide. I think seeing that live was humorous to him as well. We like to have fun here on Saturday night, Nate. Can you tell?
It's definitely a different atmosphere to our normal seriousness. But then, I don't think me and you personally have ever had a serious comm session. We always find some way to derail ourselves.
Yeah, we absolutely amuse ourselves. Dylan Tan's amusing himself. He's got the suck from the BMW in front, but I don't think that's where he's making his time up. He's up a couple of tenths here. This could be quite big, and in fact, it was a couple of tenths. A 22.437, the new mark to beat, and a slide through Paddock Hill Bend before they pull into the infield the old-fashioned way.
That's crazy. To be able to find more time, not fair, it's not funny. Well, I wouldn't give for an ounce of that speed. I would be marginally quicker than I am now.
Tell you what, if I had Dylan Tan as a teammate, I'd have won more races than he's by now, I'll tell you that. But absolutely putting it to him in the first two races, and today it's looking like more of the same. But don't count anyone out. We've had an incredible week of racing here RCI TV, and we've had several surprise winners. It looked like some drivers were going to have it in hand and just didn't. Don't know if it's been a full moon or what, but it's been a very strange week for racing. It's always been a surprise, and maybe tonight could be playing. Qualifying is one thing, racing quite another, but even still, what a performance by Dylan Tan in qualifying here. The final 40 seconds or so. All flying laps count as long as he gets to the line before the time ends. The lap will count. David Lewis there coming across. Juna Savalainen back in fourth place. Here's makes no difference, a second behind. But if he doesn't get caught behind this NSX right here, he is up by several tenths here. You don't want to get trapped behind that car, but you want to use them if you can. Coming to the line, Savalainen back to third with that lap. 33.042, and Nate, was that contact there?
No, it looked like the NSX was just trying to jump out of the way and just caught the barrier here. Yep. That's unfortunate.
Excellent eye.
I mean, you can't say it wasn't willing to get out of the way. So there's definitely can't be a protest for any blue flag infringements on that one.
I've done that myself, Nate. I'll be honest, because the that's pit out, by the way, for the uninitiated. And that Armco wall on the front straight here at Brands, which by the way isn't straight, that wall decides to take a left whenever the pit out starts. So you could be following that wall, and if you're following too closely, the end of that Armco will get you. And that's exactly what happened there to that NSX. Samir Fosh back to second place, looking to get more and does 22.887, and that will conclude qualifying for the driver of the Triple Eight Ferrari. Still not necessarily close to Pan, but not many people can say they have been. Villain here racing a car, trying to make time, and ends up still in seventh place. Qualifying over, the results confirmed Dylan Tan, unfortunately for everybody else, purple in every single sector, a 122.437 quickest mark and an additional point to Tan for the pole. Samir Fosh will start opposite him on the front row. Savalainen and Roth will share the second row. Rogers, Flamker, Bill and Pierce, Vining, and Lai the top 10.
Oh, I'll take a point for guessing who was gonna get pole position there.
Well, here are your championship standings after 2 rounds. Dylan Tan, big surprise, way out in front, 73 points. Samir Fosh has done the best of the rest with 54. Juna Savalainen with 52 points, just a couple behind Samir. Chris Vining is well back in fourth place. You can tell the top three drivers, can't you? With 26 points in fourth place. That is quite a gap up to third. Alex Rogers in fifth, 1 point behind, a couple behind him. Giannis Tassopoulos in sixth place. Javier Lai in seventh place with 21 points. Madre in the 420 in eighth place, 18 points, tied with Sir Williams. And Jaroslav Roth, who had a great qualifying run here in 10th place with 15 points. The second column here, Ryan Renoir on 14th in 11th place. Tie for 12th place between Timothy Flamger and John Arasser with 13 for both of them. Roman Frawler in 14th with 7. Pimlot 6. Ghazi 4. And Raphael Hill with 2 points. Fortunately, nobody else in the pro class or in the highest class, I should call it, well, it says AM on the board. I'm sure you all know, but these are not AM drivers, and it's almost offensive to call them as such. Muhammad Kamal Ali has done an excellent job in the lower class here and has got 46 points to themselves. Sam Welfling has done a great job as well, 42. Bruno Fantozzi in third place with 41, and Miguel Martins just 1 point behind the top three in fourth place. Tio Anton in rounding out the top five with 34 points. Estefado in sixth place with 33. Brandon Baker in seventh place, 29 points. Matt Williams, the Australian driver, with 20. Gao in the 8-12 in 19 points. And Lisma rounding out the top 10 with 9. And the second page here, 11th place, Jack with 9. Royal with 7. Kent with 5. Watkinson with 4. Got the 23 tied with Jack Ruskell for 15th place with 3 points. Nobody else has points. And I know what you're thinking, Nate. The world do so many people not.
Oh, Jesse Lee, it's almost like you read my mind.
Yeah, the reason is I believe you have to finish in the top 15 to get points in the current championship. So finish outside the top 15, you don't get a point. 15th place worth one single point. So that's why there are so many people without points. But as the championship continues, of course, the halfway point today typically end up with a couple of points. almost Formula One. My question to you, though, Nate, is thoughts on that kind of system only giving the top 15?
Well, I think it gives the drivers a reason to push a little bit harder, knowing that there's a cutoff for points rather than knowing if you trundle around and sort of mind your business, you'll still get a reward. I like it. I personally like it because now we're really actually gonna see those scraps for the final few places. I mean, even sort of in the middle of those top 15 cars, we might see some scraps as opposed to, as I mentioned, people just going, "Oh well, if I just stay last, I'll still get some points for finishing." So yeah, I think it's better personally, but the drivers might have other ideas.
Well, I will tell you that you're spot on with your assessment. It's almost like you've been here. We have seen incredibly hard racing for 15th place in both categories simply because the drivers know that is worth an point. And the difference between getting an point and no points is night and day. It could make or break your race. And for some of these guys, especially in the lower class, Nate, I feel like that is going to be coming down to the wire, the difference in the championship. The lower class here today has is likely going to be the most interesting class to watch because it has been close, it has been unpredictable, and it's been a lot of fun to see all of them battle for their points. As we do the grid walk here on a beautiful sunny Saturday evening in England, and if you are thinking of England. Yes, the weather is perfect all the time. No, it doesn't rain. That is an exaggeration, surely. But looking at some of the custom liveries on the grid, and it is nice to have them. It was always one of those things that we thought would be nice to have. Have a couple in the field today. Certainly, I feel like there'll be more next week. Is an added bonus. Well, Nate, just about time to get the race going. Your predictions for how this race is going to turn out today?
Well, given how close qualifying was, well, how relatively close qualifying was, I'm expecting some good scraps in the midfield. That's definitely not set in stone. I saw last week's night out as well. There was a couple of first lap incidents, so they could shake the order up. And out in front, I don't want to. I don't actually want to place all my chips down on old Tan there because I've got a feeling Triple Eight isn't just going to let him walk away with this. So the battle at the front for the top three cars, the ones on your screen just now, I think it's going to be quite interesting. But quickly, before I throw it back over to you, I want to give a shout out to Miguel Martins and Mr. Hull in the Porsche, two of my teammates for the World Tour.
There you have it. A big welcome in to the likes of Tim Peck, Martin Lawrence in the chat. Have you with us on a Saturday, and we hope that you enjoy tonight's race. Going to be absolutely wild, and I couldn't agree with you more. You know Samir Fosh about as well as I do at this point. He is not the kind of driver that is going to let you drive away from him if he can help it. I feel like Samir might be a great candidate for a Paddock Hill sort of move. We'll have to see if that transpires. All the cars lining up 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see, literally, because there's a turn there. We will see how it all shakes out. Usually speaking, folks, and I'm going to level with you, I'm going to talk to you real talk here. Brands Hatch creates a lot of drama, a lot of incidents. Will we see that today? It all starts with Paddock Hill Bend, and it could be a melee to start this race. Can Dylan Tan get a clean start like he has all season long? Will Samir Fosh have something to say about it? Or will Judah Savalainen, who qualified third a day ago and won the race, have the same result? Will it be deja vu for Savalainen? What about Jaroslav Roth? Can they get it done? Can anybody in this pack share in the glory tonight? Green flag, and they're down into turn one. It's an even start between the top two, between Tan and Fosh. Tan gets the better of them and files out. There's a spinner in the middle of the pack. They're off into the dirt, and all of a sudden Samir Fosh is closed off. It looked like he was going to get charged by Judah Savalainen. He doesn't. He gets in line. Savalainen is under fire from, I believe that's actually Alex Rogers there, and in fact it is. Alex Rogers thought about making the move, couldn't do it. Now Roth has been moved back a spot, and they're all single file here for the moment.
I really thought Foch was going to do that on around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. I've got a feeling he knew in his heart that was the one opportunity he would have off the start, and he really went for it. I think Han saw it coming though and did just sort of run out a little bit wider than is optimal for that corner, just to say, hey, you're not having this corner, bud, this is my position, and sort of put him off it, and now is, well, built up half a second lead already. Hopefully Foch can respond and come back at him, but I hope Tan doesn't scamper off into the distance with this one, Jesse.
I hope not, but I fear that might be the case. Foch shot his shot, but unfortunately, it just wasn't quite good enough. A happy birthday to Wolfie in chat, by the way, celebrating his birthday. Sounds like he's having a lot of fun, is Wolfie. And we hope that you are. Thanks for stopping by, and a big ol' happy birthday to you.
Oh, Jesse, we've got yellow flags at the final corner. We got some cars off. There we go. What is happening here? So, oh no. Oh dear. So we just seen, it seemed like one car off the track, came back on a little bit out of control. Second car, a little bit late on the brakes, and it was turned into a 3-car pileup. That's really unfortunate. And so that is actually, so we've got Muhammad Ali here, who is our second class leader. I also saw Miguel Martins in there, who was in 4th place in the championship. So that is 2 of the big hitters for the AM category already in the pits with incidents. We've got another yellow flag and a slow moving car now just at the start of the back straight there. And what happened here? Oh, the accident's already happened, so we've missed the start of that. But it's well, 2 BMWs coming together. Stereotypes about BMWs in chat if you can, please. Oh, here we go. Our expert broadcast from Stewie here. So what is it? Just so it's just sort of, and then it gets compounded even worse. Love tapped about insult to injury there. Just 2 cars fighting for the same piece of tarmac, and unfortunately they are solid object cars. You can't just make them disappear. But now on board with John Racer here, under attack from Nagazi. Gonna have a look into turn 1. He's not. Racer just doing what he needs to do here, just to keep the car behind, quite wide there from the AMG.
Not quite what Muhammad Kamal Ali wanted here with the championship lead in tow. This is Jaroslav Roth on Alex Rogers, forcing the issue. Contact there with Roth, and Roth nearly loses it and just about hangs on to the spot they were in. It looked like Alex Rogers was not given any sort of quarter there, and Jaroslav went for it. And I'm pretty sure with the way that the stewards do things now, they're probably going to let that go because nothing really happened there, except Rogers might have lost a little bit of time. By the way,
contact, Jesse!
It's a big spin. The 113 gets turned by Billen, I think that was, in the 183, and now a dangerous situation. Chris Vining has to spin the car around, expertly done, but had absolutely no speed in a dangerous part of the racetrack, but very good awareness by everyone else. What happens here with Billen? Does Chris Vining, Chris Vining got a little loose and he got a little closer to the edge, and when he went to turn back across, Billen was there. Billen spun him, but an excellent job right there, you have to say, from Vining, because if Vining moves either to the left or the right, Nate, he gets tagged by somebody. He didn't do that, stayed in the middle of the track and got back up to speed. Heads up by everybody else as well. That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, that was well avoided by all the other drivers who were coming around that corner, because it's almost unsighted, because you come down a small hill. So obviously it's sat at the top, you can't really see what's at the bottom of it, so well done to all the cars who avoided him. But yeah, it looked like the Audi just got a little bit of slip coming off the corner, had to get off the throttle, and the closing speed between him and the Aston was obviously just too great. And then obviously did a perfect loop, but it looked like he stalled it, and that's why he was crawling around in the middle of the track, helplessly trying to get it started to get out of the way. Yeah, that could have been a big shunt.
I will tell you that as somebody who's done that in several different types of cars, whenever you spin, the last thing you're thinking about is putting your foot on the clutch to make it not stall, or in this case, keeping it from stalling. And a lot of times when you're going backwards, you can't keep it anyway. Three wide down the front straight's not great here, but they're gonna just about make it work. What is it gonna be like with Paddock Hill Pin? They go down to two, and who's gonna be the big winner here? Oh my goodness, sideways is the car in front. I'm not sure what car that is in front. That's Alex. No, that's not Alex Rogers. That's not Roth either in front. I don't think in the 288. No, I don't know.
It's Pierce. It's Pierce,
That's
the
Thomas
131. Hey, that's
Pierce's
my number.
Ferrari. Yeah, that is Thomas Pierce in the Ferrari in your number as well. So what's happened here is Pierce has worked his way inside the top five at Alex Rogers' expense, but gets a really bad turn there, and Alex Rogers back on the attack now.
Yeah, Pierce just closed him off. And, oh, what's happening here?
Oh, I see what's happening here. There's some sort of weird netcode incident here that's going on.
Yeah, that was quite strange. That was what happened here. So, so they got together just there. This is what we saw on the broadcast live, Jesse. The three wire, they're bouncing off each other like a pinball machine.
Look at Pierce. Pierce gained 2 spots in one corner.
What is someone else's loss is definitely someone else's gain. It's in the right place at the right time to, like you said, pick up an easy 2 positions there. So we'll see if Rogers has got anything to come back with, and Billen sort of has dropped off the back of this a little bit as we see. Whoa, Pierce a little bit sideways there, lost all the momentum he's had. Is now, oh, they're 2 into 1 again. It's not quite going to work. Rogers shut the door on Roth a few laps ago, trying that move, and then tried it himself.
So I'm being told that something happened to Alex Rogers because even though Jaroslav Roth was in front of him anyway, hemorrhage time back to this group. And that is very much apparent to me now, but in the moment I had completely forgotten that Rogers was up with Roth, and it somehow ended up back here in a 3-wide battle. So something happened to Rogers, we're not sure, lost a lot of time, got involved with this group, and Thomas Pierce just basically drove around Billen and Rogers there in Paddock Hill to get those positions, and now is looking to
background?
keep that. Oh, Estefano! Was this a single car or was this contact? Oh, looked like he turned in a little bit late after missing the corner and got spun around, and that's really dangerous, but smart driving by Estefano to get off the racetrack. Otherwise, that could have been day done.
That was another scary instant. Again, sort of, that's a fast corner there. You are, again, coming into it blind. You can't see what's around there, especially on the exit, until you're midway through the corner. So, well done again to all the drivers to avoid it. Well done to the driver for being smart and getting out of the way. But yeah, unfortunately, I got to say that was on the lead car there. That was on the McLaren. He kind of opened the door, and the BMW had half a nose in there, and he sort of just went, nope, you're not coming into my house today, and shut the door a little bit too aggressively.
Neil Pimlott trying to come into Chris Vining's house right now. I don't know, Vining's car doesn't seem to be handling so well after the earlier altercation, and now has Neil Pimlott and Raphael Huell all over him. Matter of fact, yes, indeed, that's Welfling as well in the 93 who's coming up to this battle. I just had a thought. Welfling is, with the issues that Muhammad Kamal Ali has had, Welfling might be in the running today to take the championship lead. I think him, Anton, and a few other cars, as you see, Pimlott gets sideways a little bit off the corner, digging, trying to get everything they can. I told you that the lower class was going to be perhaps the most exciting, at least championship-wise. They were already close, and the way things have gone already in this race in the first 10 minutes, I think they're just going to get closer.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, Jesse, can you believe we've only been in this race for 10 minutes so far? And we've had, well,
it feels like we've been here for an 8.
Yeah, it feels much longer than it is. We got a yellow flag and a slow car, or two slow cars now. But yeah, Brands Hatch is definitely giving us the action that we deserve as commentators.
That's the 5.
That's the McLaren we just saw off
Oh,
at
that's
the
so
track.
dangerous. Oh, I know I keep saying it, folks at home, and I do apologize if you get tired of it. It is so very dangerous here. There's a lot of places we're sitting on the track. I mean, it's never good, is it? But it isn't the end all be all. But here, especially in the third sort of sector area, it is absolutely frightening because there's so it really is like a roller coaster, and every corner's blind.
Ooh.
Alex Rogers, by the way, going off into the gravel there, and Alpha, our steward, one of our stewards, has told us that he missed his braking point in turn 9 on lap 4. That's how Pearson Billen caught up to him. He's missed a corner again under braking. I think that underlines a more serious issue with the two Astons, two Rogers, Aston Martin.
Problem is, Jesse, with these cars, once you well, take these cars, whoa, a little bit sideways there, but that's what you don't want to be doing. That was exactly what I was about to touch on. If you overheat the surface of these tires, you lose all your grip, and then the problem with that is it then compounds the issue because you're sliding, you're still overheating the tire, and you're still losing grip. The drivers need to take a few more laps, or take a couple of laps just to slow it down, get the tires back under control with temperature-wise, and then they can push again. So I think what we might have seen, just touching on the McLaren that spun a moment ago, was just overheated tires, no grip, and maybe sort of taking the corner a bit faster than the tires could live with.
Regional Racers has showed up in the chat cheering on their man Dylan Tan, and I gotta say, that certainly is the driver to be cheering for in this championship if you want to think about winning as we continue to ride on board with Stavalainen. I will say, Stavalainen has thrown all of our broadcast group, including us, for a loop. He changed his car color from purple to red mid-season, and we don't know why he's done that specifically, but he's done that for every championship he's running in, has Savalainen. And we were so used to nearly a year of seeing Savalainen run a purple AMG, and now it's a red AMG. Oh, excuse me, it wasn't purple, it was full white is what it was. And now it's red, and it's very interesting, the color change of the car, and to do it mid-season, but it is a nice color change. But I can tell you, there's a red car right in front of him that wishes that he couldn't see him. I feel like Savalainen, for the better part of this race, has had just a little bit more pace than Samir Foch. But Nate, that really doesn't matter too much around a track this small.
All you need to really do is keep the pressure on the car ahead of you and hope they make a mistake. You can gain plenty of positions. We've seen it, Jesse. Cars maybe not quicker than the guy ahead of them, but able to just stick with them and force them into a mistake. As we see, that was touch and go. I was like, yeah, look, the Lamborghini not happy with that. Weffling not happy at all. That he feels like he was probably just crowded off the racetrack there. I mean, it was fair. It was hard, but it's definitely fair.
Yeah, I'm being told that the stewards are in massive deliberation over several incidents early in this race. They certainly have had their work cut out for them. There's been several serious contacts and incidents thus far in the first 15 minutes, and we'll bring all of those to you in the near future. Keep in mind the big extra shtick for Night Owl, as always, is random pit requirements. Tonight, the random pit requirement is, well, that there isn't a random pit requirement. So nobody has to come in unless they absolutely need to. I would say almost all the cars here, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, are going to be on max fuel load then.
You would assume so, but I'm sure there's one or two people, I mean, myself probably included in this, that would say, well, if I take half fuel and stop, I'll be quicker, and the time I could make up I'll lose in the pits, but that'd be fine. So it's weighing up your options. But when I say it out loud, it actually doesn't sound much quicker. So I would have definitely picked the wrong strategy here.
Well, if you're Dylan Tan, you might be able to get away with something like that. Chris Vining continuing to battle here. A little bit of contact here, a little bit of run off the track, and it's nearly past, but just about saves the spot. Vining is free falling through the field after the earlier incident. Giorgio Magazzi, though, trying to get 7th place from Y. 34 on the 74. Fair fight between two AMGs. Magazzi just a little bit quicker than Light.
Jesse Lee, if you would like to check the penalty board, I believe there are some penalties that have been handed out.
Yeah, there sure are. These aren't the ones that I was looking for. These aren't the ones I was warned about, but racing incident between the 71, the 420, and the triple, and the 778 rather. Racing incident between the 96, the 93. Stop and go 10 for car 414. 5-second penalty for car 140 for dive bombing causing a collision. Racing incident between the 778 and the 370. No further action between the 140 and the 778. Now let's go back to the stop and go 10 for the 414. It says here the 62 brakes slightly early. The 414 doesn't anticipate this, hits them in the back. 414 then swerves and takes out the 96, who then hits the 52. That was that wombo combo we saw off the final corner.
Yeah, I think we did catch that. That was the one that took. Oh no, this is a replay. Sorry, I thought this was live.
That is a replay of that very accident.
But yeah, was there a car?
Yeah, there definitely was an NHRA dragster in the grass. I did see that, and that wasn't there when I saw that earlier. So we're going to ignore that happened. But that was indeed the accident that warranted the stop and go 10. But that wasn't the flurry that Alpha warned me was coming, though. So I'm quite curious what Alpha's on about. Timothy Flamger nearly loses it there on the grass.
Oh, Jesse, has something happened to Alex Rogers here? We've just obviously cut to him, but he's all the way down in 10th place.
Yeah, Alex Rogers missed his braking point in turn 9. We were told he did that on lap 4. We were riding on board with him earlier when he was racing Pierce still, and he went off into the gravel in turn 9. And this is pretty much where he has been. Dropped all the way down to 10th, but now is fighting a wrestler for the 9th place position. Keep in mind, top 15 in each category gets points, so the white number placards and the red number placards all get scored to the top 15. So Alex Rogers has had a terrible start to this race and is now playing damage control.
Oh, we have a...
Oh, Kent. Is this an accident or a park? That is, yeah, now folks, that is some sort of equipment malfunction, whether that be connection or actual hardware. We don't know, but you don't do that unless there's been some sort of failure.
Yeah, that's quite odd. It's almost like everything just sort of shut down. He just sort of coasted into the wall. Didn't seem like there was any input onto that car there, but he's still here, so maybe, like you said, it was an equipment failure.
Where will you be when the Windows update hits?
Oh god, imagine if that's what it was. I'd be livid. Just pops up. Would you like to upgrade to Windows 11?
Nate, I kid you not, somebody on the RCI staff, they were running a race. I think it was Kyalami, in fact. But they kept having to mid-stint held their PC. Oh, contact there between Rogers and Harasser there. That's going to send Rogers off into the sand again. There was a car sitting there as well. Didn't catch who that was. But contact yet again. It's going to move Rogers down to 11th place. That's Anton in the Bentley, the 762 car. Meanwhile, Savalainen continuing to race really close to Foch. But as I was saying, I believe it was Kyle Lamy, one of the staff members, continuously had to tell that pop-up that comes onto the screen asking to update. They had to keep clicking the remind me later button, otherwise their PC was going to restart. And can you imagine trying to race somebody and also tell a pop-up to go away at the same time? That, whew.
Was that Kailami 24 last year?
I don't remember, but I believe it was Kailami, but I remember that happening, and I thought it was funny, but I only thought it was funny because it was.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So that was a crash by Daniel Kent. Their game crashed. If I had to guess, an Unreal error of some sort, but then again, any game and give you that crash when it crashes. But beyond that, Muhammad Kamal Ali, the championship leader in the lower class, has left the race. We will have a new lower class leader in this race. And I'm being told that Ali's exit was also a game crash.
Seems like Unreal Engine doesn't want to function tonight. I wonder if we'll see any more of that. Hopefully not, because I don't want to take away from the action, because I mean, everywhere you sort of look, besides maybe Paddock or Bend right now, but every car we look at seems to be involved in some sort of battle, and it's, well, it's giving us something to talk about, Jesse.
It sure is. We're not even halfway into this race. The weather is just about perfect, 26 degrees on the track, 22 in ambient, a little light breeze, and partly cloudy here. Actually, that might be mostly cloudy. It doesn't look like partly cloudy to me, but you never know. I'm not a meteorologist, but either way, just about perfect racing conditions and no threat of rain at the moment. In the next 7 minutes, if it doesn't say that it's going to rain, I think we'll be just about home free. Billen riding on board with him there for the moment, looking at Thomas Pearson, the 131. Those two racing for a top 5 spot. And this man right here, well, actually, that was the gantry billboard there. Nice camera placement. Dylan Tan for the Legion of Racers. We haven't seen him much in this race so far. That's because he's just so darn fast. 41 way out in front, catching lap traffic here, and in fact has a car crashing in front of him. Dylan Tan is gonna get involved there. Was that contact with Tan? The car crashing off the track is what's happened there, and then driving back onto the track, devil may care style. Contact there. No! Tan's got through! The spidey senses paying off for Dylan Tan!
Jeez, that was so close. That is cat-like reactions to, you know, actually, I'm with you, Jesse. That was Spidey sense. He knew something was about to happen, and there's no way you get through that with just blind luck. That was seriously impressive and seriously lucky.
That could have been absolute disaster for your championship leader. And as the leader of the race, you always seem to be the one that catches the most drama and trouble in front of you. I was just saying before that happened, I was just saying that you got to be careful, and that Dylan was catching lap traffic he couldn't see. That was absolute luck that he got through there. He had a big bad BMW in front of him. There's no way he had, oh my, he might be the last Jedi.
That was in, yeah, I would have just full pedaled it straight into the car ahead of me. That was just unreal. But while that's been unfolding, Jesse, we may have missed Rogers.
Oh, once again.
More contact. So he's got
that was
Bentley.
So, folks, you may have saw those two cars make contact in Paddock Hill earlier. That was not a replay of that accident. That was a new one. So that's happened for a second time. And once again, Alex Rogers trying to get by a Razor in the 966. Dino Nerjak in the 18 has had an off-track excursion there. And I believe that's turn 9. Got the car going the right way. Alex Rogers continuing to work on the 699 of John Arras. He's going to try it again here. We're going to go side by side again.
Third time's the charm. Can he do it this time? Oh, well, he hasn't gone off yet, but he's still side by side. Can he be later on the brakes into Druids here? Not quite. No, not quite. But now he's still right on the tail, so he might have a chance onto back straight. Well, so we're not there yet, but in a moment we'll get there. Just take what I said and move it like 5 seconds forward.
This is the back of John Eraser's car, the 699, looking at Alex Rogers' Aston, and he's getting really close. I feel like Rogers just has a little something extra in some of these corners and can close up, maybe a little bit better brakes as well. This is as close as he's been through this section. If he can stay this close, he might have a run on the front straight, but you gotta make sure you get it loaded up for turn 9. That has been the difficult corner for Rogers. It's a little bit too close for comfort there. Anton in the background in the 762. He's the leading lower class car. I refuse to call them AMs because they're not AMs. I can guarantee that. And we do have 2 different classes racing here. And nope, didn't quite get as close this time. I'm going to get side by side with him again, I think. But still, he's leaving the bottom open, is a Razor. But nope, not close enough to force the issue here. They all are single file.
I think you can tell Rogers is getting frustrated because he's trying to find every possible opening. And he's been, well, stuck behind there as we see. Well, a little bit of bump and grind there between Himlot and Flamger. But no harm, no foul. Both of them continue on. But yeah, Rogers definitely getting frustrated, stuck behind Eraser there. Obviously, no. Whoa. Dylan, that's not the line. You don't want to be out there too often.
Definitely not what you want to see. I feel like we've got a bunch of different battles. You've got Foch and Savalainen. You've got Pearson, Bill, and Eraser and Rogers. And Pimlott and Flamger all racing each other. I say Eraser and Rogers. I mean Eraser, Rogers, and Anton all together here now. I don't know what happened to the 762. He actually had fallen off in that Bentley off the back of these two. But actually, I'm pretty sure I know exactly what happened. Eraser and Rogers got side by side 2 laps in a row, and Anton caught all the way up. But still now, looking a bit racy between the 2 of them. And not quite close enough this time either, as the Racers found a little something here. And Rogers back there, but I'm with you. I think frustration starting to set in for the 190.
Yeah, definitely. But you have to keep a cool head because there's no point getting past the guy if you're going to get a 30-second penalty for it. So I think Rogers' biggest frustration is he knows he's faster because he obviously qualified a lot higher, had some unfortunate instance, but now can just not find a way past this BMW. And this BMW is absolutely mighty on this back straight. It just seems to pull away from the Aston, and the Aston's no slouch.
It sure is, and while we continue to watch this battle, time to introduce our Spirit of the Race Award candidate. Daniel Kent is back in the race, and look at Rogers try to go up the inside here. Space given, afforded by John Eraser here, and just about pulled it off with only the tiniest bit of width.
No!
Rogers is going to lose it. Rogers finally makes the pass and loses it in turn 8 by himself. Gets a little bit too much of the grass, I think, and absolutely loops it himself. And persistence doesn't pay off here. Eraser gets through. Anton gets through. Alex Rogers back to 11th place now. Absolute nightmare of a race for Rogers so far.
Oh, I can feel the frustration inside that cockpit. He will be absolutely fuming. He's just dropped it through Well, it was an unforced error. It was all on his own. After finally making the move, after being tucked up behind, John Eraser for lap after lap gets it done and then immediately drops it. Oh god, he is just going to be sat there wanting to park that car. There's no doubt about that. That was so unfortunate. Lucky though to keep it out of the wall, or well, just glance the wall. So lives to fight another day. Now can he make up the time and do it all over again?
Well, Nate, I started the conversation tonight, and I mentioned to you that it's been a weird week. It's not Halloween, I guarantee you that. We're on the other side of the calendar. But it's just been a weird week in RCI. We've seen a lot of strange things. Add that to the bucket. Alex Rogers makes the pass. It was a beautiful pass, and then self-inflicts a spin after the pass was made. You can't write this stuff. Just a crazy week continuing. The final race of the week. Tio Anton now trying to get by Eraser, and I think he might be a little bit quicker here. But my question to you, Nate, is if you are leading your class like Anton is, do you pressure a guy you're not having to race for that position? What would you do?
Oh, absolutely. We all know it, Jesse. Everyone here wants to beat everyone around them, and especially if you can take on someone in the higher class, absolutely want to do that. Is massive amounts of bragging rights to everyone in your class. So while he doesn't need to, I have no doubt he absolutely will want to.
Well, what I was going to say earlier was Spirit of the Race Award candidate, the number one, Daniel Kent, who had some sort of mechanical issue or hardware related issue back in the race. You are allowed to reconnect mid-race and continue if you choose to do so. Daniel Kent has done just that in the number one. So, Spirit of the Race Award candidate, I think he might take it today. Well done, Kent, for getting back in the race. He's several laps down, but that is not the point. If somebody else drops out relatively soon, he's going to make up all those laps he was down. He's going to get more points in his championship, and that's what it's all about. Never saying no, never giving up, and keeping it going. Speaking of, to your point, Anton doing exactly what you said, Nate, continuing to pile on the pressure to Eraser. Eraser pretending he's not there for the time being. And by the way, Alex Rogers is catching up again.
If that doesn't point out the pace that he's had, I don't think anything else will. Obviously, had his spin, dropped sort of 3 to 4 seconds back, I think it was. Might have been 2 to 3 seconds back. And is now, after 2 laps, was it? I'm sure someone will correct me. Back on the tail of this train. So, yeah, Rogers will be absolutely steaming that he's now back here again, where he probably will now absolutely feel like he doesn't belong.
I can tell you something else that's brewing in the background as well. We're watching this fight for ninth place as Rogers goes off again, but only a minor off that time. Is we have a new contender, as Chad has pointed out, for second place. Jaroslav Roth in the 288 has caught Savalainen, who has fallen off of Bosch a little bit. I can only imagine that has something to do with a move not coming off and losing time massively. If you make a little mistake or you get on somebody's outside and maybe they have the preferred line, you will lose about a second to them immediately after doing that. Oh, moving out of the way. Was that on purpose by Teo Anton there? Did he calculate that and do that on? Yes, he did! That was on purpose!
Ah. So maybe he's hoping...
A tactic!
Yeah, maybe he's hoping Rogers will, well, we don't want to put the old commentator's curse on it, but maybe he's hoping Rogers and Eraser will tangle and he can just roll on through and be on his merry way.
That is very interesting indeed. I love to see driver tactics. You just saw it there by the lower split leader of the race. Chris Vining, by the way, has been fighting the good fight against Neil Pimlott. This has been a fairly respectful battle between the two of them. There's been no movement. Excuse me, that's actually Frawler, matter of fact, as I've just noticed. That's Frawler and Vining racing each other. Pimlott is 5.5 seconds behind this group. Chris Vining trying to get this spot away, just hasn't come off yet. Meanwhile, the three-way battle continuing for ninth place. Gunna Racer's rear wing looking back at Rogers again. But I love that, by the way, Nate, that call right there from Anton a lap ago, just letting Rogers go. He saw Rogers and a racer fighting earlier. He knows that there's likely going to be contact or a mistake. He doesn't want to be in the middle of it when it happens. Brilliant call in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, he is the secondary class leader right now. But why get involved in an accident that could potentially cost him a bag full of points? It's just not worth it. So really smart call from Anton there. Obviously acknowledging that Rogers is, quicker than he is, not wanting to potentially get caught up in a tussle, fighting for position. Just lets him go.
Hello to the Stig, who's joined us part the way through this race. Stig, you've missed a interesting first 35 minutes, I would say, but nonetheless, welcome in on your Saturday evening. And for all of you that are joining us on your Saturday night, thank you for being with us here. We hope that you are enjoying the race as much as we are in the booth. I'm jumping up and down up here. I do feel sorry for our broadcaster, Stewie, and my co-comms, Nate, on occasion, because I do get very excited indeed. I love motorsport. Always like this. So why, if you enjoy it, like, subscribe, hit the bell for more GT racing action. We'll run you through the week's schedule at the end of the broadcast. And of course, a big thank you to Race Department, AK Informatica, Driver 61, Fanatec, and SimRacing.gp. More information about those fine folks after the race.
Oh, Jesse, it's looking like Rogers is lining up for round 7 million on a racer here. Oh, he's going for the inside? No, not quite.
I love a racer's tactic is like, if you're really going to send it, I'm going to give you the space. The second he realizes Rogers isn't going to go full send, he goes over and takes that line away to keep Rogers from sneaking up the inside. I love the tactics here. Rogers is showing him the nose. He's getting there to the rear quarter panel of the car, but he's not quite got enough overlap. Rogers is not willing to overdrive too much because he doesn't want to hit a racer, because he knows if he does that, he'll get a penalty. I can't believe I just said that and he touched him. That was a touch if I ever saw one. But a lot of times, if it actually wasn't a touch, matter of fact, they got away with it cleanly here. It's a crossover move. It's a touch. Rogers deep into Paddock Hill sand trap, building sandcastles. That's number 3, folks. That's the 3rd time Alex Rogers has been in that sand trap today, and still he has to make up that spot. Rogers back down to 11th. He's going to try to catch up a 3rd time. You remember that movie, Groundhog Day, Nate, where, what's his name, wakes up every day. That was Bill Murray, I think it was. He wakes up every day and does the same thing.
Are you saying this is Rogers Groundhog Day?
I think it is. Yeah, I'm not laughing at Alex Rogers. I want to get that point out there clear. But it is sort of humorous that it just can't buy a vowel.
Oh my god. When that happened, I literally held my head in my hands. I couldn't believe what we were watching, Jesse. Every time I think his best option is to just stay behind Gunna Racer, because every time he passes him, he has an incident. If that's not a bad omen, I don't know what is.
This is how you become a superhero, by the way. Rogers is going to come back up here, going to make all these passes, he's going to get 9th place, and he's going to finish there. This is a superhero arc. This is the Marvel Extended Universe, I think, is what it is. And look at this. This is the most interesting thing. Now that Rogers is not here anymore, Anton is on the back of a racer trying to get ninth spot again. Oh, Rogers off in the background, I think, a little bit there as well. That is Alex Rogers, you can see, just in the background. And I believe he was off just a little bit there. But nonetheless, he's 3.3 seconds back. Made that gap up before. I have no reason to believe he won't make it up again. But Teo Anton, what an interesting strat. He was willing to lay back and allow Eraser and Rogers to race each other. But the second that Eraser's alone, Anton goes back on the offensive.
Yeah, I think Anton knows he's quicker than Eraser, but also knows that he's slower than Rogers. So he's essentially in the middle of the food chain here. He's attacking who he knows is weaker than him, but avoiding who he knows is stronger than him. So, I mean, it's a perfectly reasonable play, and it's, it's throwing up an interesting battle here.
That is excellently spotted by you. I hadn't really processed that, but I am almost certain that you are correct, and it's been pointed out to us in the booth that Teo Anton is actually driving on a gamepad as well. I hadn't picked up on that, but some of you in chat and in our broadcasters booth has picked up on that. I'll actually take a look here at the steering. You can actually tell, and yep, that right there, that twitch, that big twitch. Yeah, you can't do that with a wheel, can you, Nate?
I mean, you probably could, but you'd have no wrists at the end of it. I mean, I'm sure you could probably do that if you had a DD2 cranked up to maximum and hit a wall. I'm definitely sure you could get the steering wheel to wrap around that quickly, but again, you'd have no wrists by the end of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely a gamepad. Yeah, Nate's right. You could technically do that with a racing wheel, but it would be very painful. That is absolutely a gamepad. But the way that he's able to drive, we have several drivers in our ACC racing that do use gamepads, and they're just as good as anybody else. There's a handful that come to mind. I've seen drivers win on gamepads before in Pro Split. I know that contradicts the norm of you got to have a wheel and force feedback and all this to be good. And quite frankly, unfortunately, the inconvenient truth is, well, that's just not true. It is easier, but it's just not true.
Oh dear. So the 420 AMG, well, it's had an incident long before this. Oh no. Oh no, what a disaster that was. Trying to get over into the pit lane, but being on the complete wrong side of the track and just unfortunately causing an incident. I've got a feeling the stewards won't take too lightly to that, as we see Anton going extremely wide, still all over the back of John Racer, with Alex Rogers just zooming in the background again, slowly creeping up to these two again. Hopefully this will be the last time we say that, and we'll get past and we'll have no more issues.
While we have a moment, and Nate, if something happens, please do interrupt me. I got to get through some of these stewarding reports. The stewards still very much hard at work, but they have given me several slips of paper here. Warning for car 119 for avoidable contact. Racing incident between the 113 and the 183. Warning for car 113 for not holding brakes after an incident. Warning for car 131 for avoidable contact. Racing incident between the 183, the 119, and the 133. Racing incident between the 183 and the 74. A warning for an overtake with contact or position return between the 74 and the 699. Racing incident between the 699 and the 34. Racing incident between the 119 and the 131. Racing incident between the 5 and the 913. Warning for car 414 for not holding brakes after losing control. 5-second penalty for car 5-second penalty for car 778 for avoidable contact with the 414. Racing incident between the 93 and the 19, and a drive-through for car 812 for, it says here, the 778 pulls to the outside to let the 812 lap them, but then gets hit by the 812, causing a take out. And, well, there's a drive-through penalty, Nate, that's showing up on the screen that isn't in this report. You know what that means.
Oh, poor Alex Rogers. This has just not been his race, has it?
Yeah, it sure hasn't, folks. That 119 drive-through penalty is not from the stewards. Stewards have not given Rogers a penalty. That is for track limits. We heard earlier, Alex Rogers is a streamer as well, streams a lot of his racing, and I was told laps ago that Rogers was on his third track limits warning, and apparently he has gotten a fourth, which is an automatic drive-through penalty. And I just believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, the 119 had come down pit road and stopped, which means they are done for today.
What a shame, but no, he's back
Nope.
out, Jesse.
No,
Jesse,
incorrect.
You lied
Okay.
to us. You lied to me. You lied to our viewers. How could you do such a thing?
Sound like my ex-wife. Anyway, the point is the 119 fell off the board for me. He disappeared, and I suspect it's because he was going down pit road. He disappeared off the board completely, but he did reappear. He is in 14th place, back behind Neil Pimlott now. So he has a new mission here late in the race. Did somebody just smell sushi a moment ago?
I did. An odd whiff. It came and went quite rapidly.
I haven't smelled that since I shared the box with Ryan Gill. That was very strange. Anyway, moving on. I'm just saying. The man makes great dinners. He has his own like sushi bamboo thing, and
No. So I'm cutting you off there. He does not. I've seen. Right, we're off topic. See, always we derail ourselves, Jesse. But I have seen that man's cooking. He does not make great meal. I could find a better meal in a kids meal at McDonald's. Ryan, if you're watching, you're wrong. Jesse's wrong. It's wrong.
Ryan Gill, I just want you to know that the comments and opinions of my co-commentator do not in any way represent me or RCI. I absolutely think your cooking is very lovely, and I'm also confused at how you cook so many different things so well. But anyway, we are very much off topic here. Estefano, who had a couple of spins earlier in the race, seems to have righted the ship, but Gao in the 812 trying to take that spot away from him. Meanwhile, Anton's still working on a Razor. I feel like Anton's being very gentle with a Razor here because they are in two different classes. I feel like if Anton was racing somebody in his class, he might be a little bit more forceful, but because he's not, he's willing to race the 699. He's just not willing to make contact when he doesn't.
No, see, because what we've been seeing, like you mentioned, when he's alone with John Racer, he's quite, I don't want to say aggressive, but he's definitely made his presence known. I'm sure if they got any closer, John Racer would quite literally feel Anton breathing down his neck. But I got a feeling we're getting into the final 10 minutes here, Jesse. These cars have been on these sets of tyres since the start of the race. I've got a feeling they're starting to get a little bit tired now, unintended. And they're struggling for grip out of some of the low-speed corners.
No, you're right about that. 50 minutes on a set of tires, especially abusing them around a place like Brands Hatch, you're starting to feel it now. Realistically, you were starting to feel it about 15 minutes ago, but now it's becoming a performance issue for a lot of the cars. By the way, our battle for second place just sort of fizzled out. Savalainen never caught back up to Foch, and even more to the point, Jaroslav Roth, who had caught up to Savalainen, Roth has now fallen off of Savalainen. They're all about a second or so off of each other, so we didn't get that battle, rather unfortunately, but we are going to get a battle between Alex Rogers and Neil Pimlott for what I believe to be the second time today, I'm pretty sure.
That's the leader, Jesse. You can tell that by the McLaren-shaped
Oh,
rear end
dear.
of it, and not the
Oh,
BMW-shaped
dear.
rear end.
Yeah, that is absolutely not Neil Pimlott's BMW. That is, as it turns out, 100% a McLaren. That is indeed what that is. That's what I get for being distracted, definitely. And here you see a couple of Audis.
No, I'm not falling for it. I'm not going to bite that bait.
Okay.
I
All
know,
right.
I know what you're doing.
I just wanted to see what you'd say.
No, I know. I nearly went. Actually, Jesse, they're BMWs, but realized exactly what you were doing. Almost, old man.
For those of you who have never seen a night owl, yes, this is normal, and it's the whose line is it anyway of sim racing. We like to have a little fun on Saturday night, and we hope that you've enjoyed the ride along with us as well. Neil Pimlott there trying to get a spot from Frawler, in fact, and Cavalion, and I'm very confused. And the only thing I can think of, as John Eraser, by the way, has just got a drive-through penalty
Ooh.
as well, and he's going to serve that immediately. He come firing into pit road. That was an excellent take of the chicane there, trying to get down to 50 kph, but Eraser with a drive-through.
And that is actually for contact, Jesse.
Yeah, it sure is. Drive-through penalty for car 699. Attempts to switch back and takes out car 119 of Alex Rogers. And I believe something has just happened.
No, surely not. Surely they have not come back out onto the same piece of tarmac again.
So, Nate, do you know the general principle behind giving somebody a penalty?
Enlighten me, Jesse.
It's to right the wrong of the wronged party, which means what you're trying to do is set them back on equal terms. I think the stewards have nailed it.
Oh, I don't. There's no way. I can't believe this has happened like this.
Oh my god! And Rogers not wasting any bit of time. Eraser off the racetrack and just sort of resigned to the fate there a little bit. What happened to John Eraser here? Just missed the corner, and it is a welcome sight for Alex Rogers, I'm sure, as that position finally gets taken there. And unfortunately, not for the spot that they wanted at the time, but nevertheless, penalty for an earlier incident for Eraser, and Rogers finally.
I could just imagine the sheer confusion and disbelief on Rogers when he would have seen a Razor coming out of the pits just ahead of him. I would, yeah, I don't know what I would think. There'd be a mix of emotions there, I think.
I definitely can understand that. Dino Nerjak has had a rough day of it in the number 18 Audi. That is continuing, but rejoining the track very safely indeed. Gold star to Dino there. Dillon here has caught Thomas Pierce in the 131. This is the second time that Dillon has caught the 131. Will there be a late race pass here entering the final 5 minutes or so? Dylan Tan out front. Of course, he has the fastest lap, going for the Grand Slam today. Again, and 14.5 seconds out in front of Samir Foch. Foch put up a pretty decent fight, kept it respectable. And if we flash back to the middle parts of this race, it could have been very different. If that BMW doesn't hit that spinning car and ricochet off the racetrack, Dylan Tan would have been involved in that crash. But through some sort of Jedi mind trick, he somehow survives. in one of the craziest moments I've ever seen on a racetrack. And Gal has, nope, that is a mechanical fault.
Wait, you don't think he's underfueled the car, do you?
Oh no, Nate, that's a good point. I think it's very possible.
We are getting into the closing stages now, and it did sort of look like it was a controlled coast to a stop. Oh, no, he's on his way again. Nope, no. There's fuel in there somewhere. Maybe the reserve tank.
Yeah, it very much could be. Don't take your eyes off any of these cars here. If they start to go a bit slow, they might be trying to save a little bit of fuel, but whatever was happening with Zhao there, the 812 back going again, but that was certainly some sort of issue internally. They have gotten going again. I don't even think they lost a spot in class there in the middle of no man's land to begin with, so might have not lost them anything at all. Here's Jaroslav Roth, the Connection Lost Racing 288, who is actually catching Savalainen again. It is Savalainen in the red and black AMG in front. Could we be setting up for a last lap pass here, maybe?
I hope so, just to make it that extra bit spicy. Not that we haven't had an exciting race already, Jesse, but why not just for the end of it, just sprinkle a little bit more hot sauce on this?
And before we get to that particular hot sauce, of course, we have had a few more incidents, racing incident between the 5 and the 913. According for car 414, these are old things I'm reading again. I'm not going to do that. Racing incident between the 19 and the 913. Racing incident between the 913 and the 19. Racing incident between the 913 and the 19. Why don't they just get a room?
You probably would argue about who's going on what side of the bed.
I'm not going to discuss that at all. What I am going to discuss is Alex Rogers trying to get around Neil Pimlott here, and just about gets that done, sets their sight on Frawler in front. Keep in mind, Pimlott was trying to get around Frawler, didn't come off, but Rogers trying to get ever closer to the top 10 and could do with 11th place here. Frawler just in front, and for my money, Alex Rogers the quicker car.
So if Alex Rogers gets past Crawler here, he'll be back in the same spot he was before he got a drive-through.
Don't.
However, the difference now, though, is he now has John Racer behind him.
Well, that's an interesting way to look at things. Roth all the way on the back of Savalainen. Savalainen losing a good bit of time to Foch. Is Savalainen having to use a different fuel map, or has that AMG Mercedes used its tires?
Or a combination of the two, Jesse. We'll have to ask them after the race. But for now, let's see if he's got anything in the tank to defend here. Seems like he's just enough ahead. Oh, maybe not. No, yeah, still just enough ahead to hold as we got one more lap.
Okay, your leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
There's the confirmation of that. So just, wow, nine corners to hold off one car.
Oh, Roth is off the track there. That's going to lose him some time.
Yeah, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but I've got a feeling that off track there is going to cost Roth the position, or the chance at third place, I should say.
Up the inside is Rogers on Frawler. Frawler giving him a room there on the outside. The track does go away from you a bit, but if I am correct, I think just a little bit more pace out of that Aston Martin right about now, trying to go around the outside, and it's mission done for Alex Rogers, 11th place. It is a little bit of an unfortunate race for Rogers, you have to say, but a consolation prize Nonetheless, for the driver of the 119, self-inflicted drive-through due to track limits, but still has beat his man John Arazer, who's down in 14th place, who has been given an additional 5-second penalty for an additional contact. But
The leader has
all of
finished the
that
race.
beside, it has been a perfect day for the Legion of Racers 141, and Dylan Tan goes a perfect 3 for 3 in the Night Owl Championship. Samir Foch, a respectable second place, 11 seconds behind. Juna Savalainen will hold on to third in what was not the closest race in the world, but an excellent race nonetheless. The top three finish nearly how they are in the championship. And of course, Jaroslav Roth in fourth place. Thomas Pierce will come across the line and just about edge out Billen for fifth place. Billen finishes sixth, and the 74 all alone has been for a lot of this race. Javier will take seventh place. Magazi will come across in eighth place. Anton will, after all of that patience and perseverance, as Magazi comes across the line, Anton, all of that patience and perseverance, Nate, he's going to come home ninth and win in the lower class. Excellent drive by Tio Anton in the 7.62. Chris Vining will round out the top 10 in this race. Absolutely incredible. Welfling will finish second in the lower class and take the championship lead, unless I'm very much mistaken. But I'm pretty sure Welfling will take that position since I have been doing the maths.
Yes,
And of
there it
course,
is.
Williams finishing third in the lower class. Fantozzi, Estefado, the other drivers that I can't see, there they are, as the final results scroll across your screen. Talked about how it's been a strange week here at RCI, a lot of ups and downs and crazy racing. Alex Rogers absolutely just, he had the position, he lost it, kept fighting back, and just an excellent drive by some drivers that needed an excellent drive. Nate, final thoughts.
Well, first of all, I gotta say, Alex Rogers is without a doubt my star of today's race. Like you mentioned, all the incidents, all the dramas, all the troubles kept going and consistently made up the gap to the car in front of him that he was fighting. And it was great to watch. Definitely kept us wondering whether he was going to go off track again or not, or if he was going to make the move stick. Overall, feel a little bit sorry for Foch not being able to get it to stick around the outside on lap one and then just watching Han walk away. That's got to be a difficult pill to swallow. But again, nonetheless, a fantastic race from Tan to not put a foot wrong and to, well, avoid everything that sort of came his way.
Dylan Tan getting it for a third week in a row. You know, nobody has ever won every race in a Night Out championship. It's never been done. Could Dylan Tan be on the path to doing just that? Folks, if you like that race, well, we've got more of it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for more. Next broadcast on Monday, the continuation of the Euro Masters Championship, the Ryan and Ryan Show with Stewie behind the pictures of that. Then on Wednesday, the Diamond Drive Cup returns to get a little bit more of myself and Nate with Jake the Bosmeister Boswell behind the camera for Diamond Drive. Nate, I can't wait to get that going. Thursday, myself and Tim Peck with the continuation for Champ Friday. Myself, Mike Jones, and Stewie there. And of course, we'll be back with you next week. Myself and Ryan Malshin, normal service resumed as we continue to see Tan put on an absolutely brilliant show. But very quickly, Nate, Diamond Drive's back. We're back.
Diamond Drive is back. We are back, Jesse. Back to our roots, back to where we first met, back to my first series with RCI. So I'm excited. You're excited. I know all of the drivers are excited to be back as well. and I'm looking forward to seeing some more, well, close fighting, racing, whatever you want to call it, over in DDC.
Yeah, if you've never seen a diamond drive race, then I mean, you got to get yourself out to one of them. It is so different than a lot of the other racing. There's so much chaos going on. We absolutely love it. We've had surprise winners, runaway winners. We've had last lap passes. It's just great to be back for season 3. Of course, that's on Wednesday. We thank you all for joining us this evening. We wish you well for the rest of your weekend. And of course, big thank you to our partners as well. RaceDepartment.com, your source for sim racing news, AK Informatica, for providing our server solutions. Driver61, driver61.com. You can use our discount code in the description. Get 25% off your driver coaching at driver.com. Fanatec, the authority of sim racing hardware, fanatec.com. You can use our affiliate link in the description. It doesn't cost you anything, and it can help us with things like server cost when you use it. And simracing.gp, if you're tired of the pub racing scene, join simracing.gp, get into a community, get into a series. It's all there on SimRacing.gp. And the best part, it is completely to use. Thank you all for being with us. And Nate, thank you for filling in tonight. It was an absolute treat. Can't wait to see you again on Wednesday. Absolute pleasure, Stewie. On behalf of everyone here on the staff team, the broadcast, the admins, and the stewards, thank you all for watching, and have a good night.